the footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you our 2014 NFL NFC Divisional Playoff preview between the New Orleans Saints and the Seattle Seahawks. Now let's take a look at some keys to victory for both teams, starting with the Saints. In this second matchup versus the Seattle Seahawks, the New Orleans Saints will have to have success throwing the football, and I think they can have success in trying to isolate Earl Thomas back there at the free safety position, giving him a high-low read and trying to make him make a decision. I'm going to show you what we're talking about. What we're going to do in this cluster set, we're going to bring the outside receiver in motion across the formation, and once he gets outside leg of the guy that's going to dot the I, dot the bunch, you can utilize him as a tight end. So what we're going to do, we're going to snap the football, we're going to shoot him out as if he's going to the flat and break him up, trying to split the cornerback and the free safety. And what we're doing with the guy on the inside, both of the inside guys will be your outlet receiver. So Drew Brees will have those checkdowns, those built-in checkdowns in this play. So now what we have the tight end doing, he's going to run the whip route. So now he's going to go in, pivot back out, and try to attack the flat, and he's reading the linebacker. So you're putting the linebacker in the bind, and you're trying to put this free safety in the bind. And how we're going to attack him on the high-low, we have this guy going high. We're going to have this guy shooting across, going low, across the face of the free safety. Now he's in the bind because he has to make a choice. Does he try to get out over top of the guy streaking down the hash, or does he try to jump on top this crosser? And what we have here is your other outlet route. Receivers running a hang route right here over the guard. So I think that's how they can have some success in isolating. You're reading the linebacker. If he buzzes over to the hang route, then you hit the whip route. If he sits on his whip route, then you hit the hang route. If he stays where he's supposed to be and try to walls off this crosser going across the face of the free safety, then you have an opportunity to hit this guy in this hole here. And the free safety jumps over, hit the guy going across. So again, you're giving yourself options. It all depends on the protection that he's going to have up front. But again, trying to make Earl Thomas, the free safety, make a decision back there on the back half of the defense, I think could lead to a big play in the passing game the second time around for New Orleans. The Seattle Seahawks on defense do a great job in applying pressure in this game versus New Orleans. They're going to have to get Drew Brees to hold on to the football just a little bit long to get these guys off the field on third down. Now, this blitz I'm going to draw up, it's an illusion blitz. It gives the illusion of 8-man pressure. So, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It shows the illusion of 8 guys coming after the quarterback, which could influence Drew Brees to check off into a quick pass. These guys are manned up on the outside. It's cover 0, which means no one's going to be back deep. Everyone's going to be responsible for a man in one-on-one coverage. So you have the cornerbacks playing inside technique, trying to get these guys to go outside where you can utilize the sideline as your friend. And that's the benefit of having big corners, because now they wall off the wide receivers, and it's tough for Drew Brees to fit that football over the head of guys like Richard Sherman and company. And you see we have the Mike linebacker sugared over the center, hovering over the center, giving the illusion that he's coming in one of the A gaps. But what he's going to do, he's going to drop back into this middle of the field right here. Not in the deep third, but just in the middle of the field where he originally should be lined up. And now we're going to walk this strong safety down as the cadence starts to wind down, and he's coming off the edge. And we're going to, as he's walking down, we're going to have the free safety, Earl Thomas, walk over. And now he's going to be responsible for the tight end manned up, because we're running twist up front, dual twist stunts up front with the end and the tackle, which means the end is coming here, tackle is going there, tackle is going outside, end is going inside. And we have these guys pushing the C gap. But what's happening? They're spying the nearest back. And this is a double dog blitz as well. So if none of these guys release, there's your extra blitzers right there. If one guy releases, then he covers him. If this guy doesn't, he goes, and vice versa. So you have a double linebacker dog blitz. If these guys stay in, then they are free blitzers to get after Drew Brees. But if they go out into a route, then their responsibilities change. They have to cover those backs. So that's how you can give the illusion of an 8-man blitz. But if those guys stay back there in protection, now you really have an 8-man blitz. But you see where we're sitting the strong safety off the edge, giving the illusion that, okay, these guys are coming, I can make the quick pass here, but you have the cornerbacks playing inside technique, so Drew Brees will hold that football, and that can force a turnover, it can force a sack, it can get the Saints off the field. I think that's how the Seattle Seahawks can have success once again the second time around versus New Orleans. Defensively for New Orleans, the second time around versus the Seattle Seahawks, they have to be able to get off the field on third and medium. And I think if they go with a fire blitz, which means you're sitting both of your inside linebackers, it could force Russell Wilson to make a quick decision, and that way they can rally up, make a tackle, and get off the field. Let me explain what a fire blitz is. Like I say, you're sitting both inside backers, and we have a spread set, third and medium, that's 3rd and 6, maybe 3rd and 7. Some may consider that 3rd and long, but I'm going to call it 3rd and medium, and I think they have to be able to get off the field. We're going to run a fire blitz where we're going to rob the middle of the field. So we're going to rob the middle of the field with the safety. So everyone playing deep third. We're playing cover 3 behind it. Cover 3, dropping back in this cover 3, and he's robbing the middle of the field, trying to take away the quick pass over the middle in case this tight end runs across the middle of the field. This is why you have the robber with the safety, and we're sending double A-gap pressure with the 2 inside linebackers. They're crossing down the A-gap. Here, there's your fire blitz. Nose tackle's job is to entertain the center, tell him a story, talk to him, ask him how his day's going, keep him occupied, make him pick a side, so that way you open up space for these 2 inside backers. Your outside contain rushers are your 5 techniques that have to make sure they keep Russell Wilson in the pocket, and you dropping your backers into that curl flat area right there. So that's how they can have some success, getting pressure down at A-gap, playing contain on the outside, taking away the curl flat area, and robbing the middle of the field. Again, 3rd medium, 3rd and short. I think they could have some success with this fire blitz against Seattle and get these guys off the field. The second time around, I'm pretty sure the Seattle Seahawks will see a lot of pressure coming from Rob Ryan and that defense, and they're going to have to beat the zone blitz this time around versus the New Orleans Saints. I'm going to show you one way they can do so. They can protect themselves if there's an overload blitz to the strong side. So let's say this is a tight end, and what we're going to do, we're going to send pressure. He's going to slice inside. So we're bringing the 5 technique inside shoulder of the tackle, and we're bringing that outside linebacker inside shoulder of the tight end. So naturally, you want that tight end to stay in and pick him up. So that's why you have a check protection at the line of scrimmage, where if this guy doesn't come, then the tight end can go out into a route. But what we're going to do to protect this route right here, we have Russell Wilson in a call where he can boot out, half boot out to the right. So what we're doing to combat that, to try to help him out, because again, like I said, they may send overload pressure where you have the backer slicing in, the 5 technique slicing in, because you have the strong safety coming on the outside. And what you want to do to combat that, skinny post. Keep it skinny so that way the free safety can't get over there in time. And Russell Wilson does a great job throwing on a run, and he can hit this play accurately down the field. Or if this guy doesn't come, if he takes an outside track, let's say the strong safety doesn't blitz, if he just stays in this zone right here and the outside linebacker wants to take the outside track, and that 5 technique also tries to push through that tackle, he doesn't have to belly out. He can sit into the pocket, running back bellies out for him, and we have the corner to try to occupy the cornerback and hold this linebacker in a bind, because he may buzz out to this running back running the flat. We have the outside receiver running a pivot route. So this will be your built-in hot read. If this guy's coming on the outside, Russell Wilson wants to get rid of the football quickly, he can hit the pivot or he can hit the swing. So this corner route essentially is a takeout route. You're clearing out space, taking his cornerback out of the play. So again, giving him 2 plays in one, just off the simple track of the outside linebacker. If this guy's coming in, then you want to release where he just left and try to throw off that strong safety that's blitzing. If he takes that outside track, you stay in the pocket and you read the weak side, the pivot route or the swing. So I think beating the blitz could be key for Seattle. They were able to knock off the Saints in the first meeting. If they can beat the blitz in the second meeting, they can have the same result at the end.
The X factor in this ball game for New Orleans will be their perimeter defenders. That's guys like the outside linebackers, the safeties in the hole. They're going to have to play exceptionally well this time around versus Seattle. They played great in the box football versus the Seahawks in Week 13. This time around, they have to do a better job on the edges if they want to come away victorious. And the X factor for the Seahawks will be their interior offensive line. I alluded to it just a second ago. The Saints played great in the box football, which means they were able to win at the line of scrimmage. This offensive line with Max Unger at the center position has to do a great job in opening up holes for the running game, so that way they can get that balance going with Marshawn Lynch. Now here are some coaching points for both teams in this ballgame. For the Saints, clusters cause confusion. They were able to have success out of bunch sets and cluster sets versus Seattle in the first matchup, both in the running game as well as in the passing game. And I think if they bring this into the second matchup, they can have similar types of success, creating those natural rub routes and pick routes in the passing game, and also creating better angles for blocking in the running game. And defensively, it's all about gap exchange versus the read option. When they sense the read option, have your defensive end, regardless of his responsibility, take the dive guy and have the outside linebacker be responsible for the quarterback. That eliminates confusion and puts you in better position to stop the read option with Russell Wilson. And on offense, you have to stay balanced. That's why the Saints were able to be victorious versus the Eagles on the road. Staying balanced is the key to success. It opens up your play action passing game, and it keeps your offense on pace, especially when you're going on the road. And for the Seahawks, the spread puts teams to bed. You look at the first matchup versus New Orleans, they were able to win the individual matchups in space out there on the perimeter. And I think now versus a weakened Saints secondary, they can have similar type of success. So I think they have to spread the field and attack those individual matchups on the perimeter. And Russell Wilson must beat the blitz. The Saints didn't blitz as much in the first meeting. I'm pretty sure you're going to see a lot of pressure this time around. And if he's able to beat the blitz with the passing game and with his legs, the Seahawks offense will do just fine. And they have to stay physical defensively. That's what frustrated the Saints in the first meeting, and also throughout the course of the season. Teams that were able to get physical with these guys on the flanks. If they can beat up Jimmy Graham, Marcus Colson, get Brees to hold the football just a little bit too long, the Seahawks can play winning defense versus New Orleans. Now, here are some in-game adjustments you want to watch for in this ball game for the Saints. The second time around, I believe they have to take the fullback off the field. It slows down the offense. Put an extra tight end out there. Put Ben Watson out there. Now you have Watson and Graham. I think that's how they can have success. And they have to increase the pressure versus Russell Wilson. I spoke about this earlier. They didn't get a lot of pressure on him in the first meeting. They have to turn up the pressure in order to get these guys off the field. And you want to walk before running. Don't be afraid to take your time before trying to take shots deep down the field. The short passing game could work to effectiveness to lull that defense to sleep. Then you take your shot, and then you can have success in the passing game. And for Seattle in this ball game, they have to play with controlled aggressiveness. Quiet is kept. In that first matchup, there were a lot of busts in the secondary that Drew Brees just didn't see. So I think they have to control their aggressiveness. Otherwise, they're going to get gashed the second time around in the passing game. And I would also look on offense to play with more multi-layered routes in that passing game. Try to attack the Saints linebackers in that intermediate coverage in the passing game. I think that's where they can have some success. And I talked about this earlier. The interior offensive line has to win those battles. They have to be able to keep Cam Jordan, Akeem Hicks. Those guys can't be allowed to be disruptive in the running game. Otherwise, this offense can struggle if they're one-dimensional. In the 2009 NFC Divisional playoffs, the Saints played host to the Arizona Cardinals in what was supposed to be an offensive shootout. The Saints defense stepped up big time in this ball game, and Reggie Bush played one of his best games as a pro, going for nearly 100 yards on the ground and also bringing a punt back for a touchdown later on in the game as the Saints blew out the Cardinals 45-14. In the 1983 AFC Divisional playoffs, the Seattle Seahawks were big-time underdogs on the road versus the Miami Dolphins, and they were nursing a 20-13 lead on the road in the fourth quarter until Dave Craig threw an interception which led to the tying Dolphins touchdown. But on the ensuing drive, the Seahawks went marching right down the field with the deep pass to Steve Largent and the game-winning touchdown with Kurt Warner sprinting around the end to win the ball game on the road 27-20. I like Seattle in this ball game. I think the Seahawks passing game will give the Saints problems, and they've done a fine job all season long playing through injuries. But I think they have now caught up to them, especially in the secondary. I think they won't be able to match up versus that spread attack of Seattle. So I think the Seahawks move on to the NFC Championship game. And I also want to give a huge shout out to Seahawks fan forums and Saint fan forums for always showing football game plan support.